Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I am going to give you some beautiful details about half-yearly examination. In our half-yearly examination, we are going to have some important chapters. So from prose lessons, we are going to have two lessons. What are they? Nothing but a letter to his son's teacher and she conquered the Everest. These two chapters are there for your pre-final examination. You know that? You are going to get 16 marks from these two chapters. 16 marks for these two chapters. How 16 marks in the sense? 2 questions and 2 annotations you have to write. 2 questions. Each question will give you 4 marks. And each annotation carries 4 marks again. And 4 into 4, 16 marks. Right? So how to write question? You have to write question in this pattern. First and primarily, you have to introduce some details about the writer and his place, his birthplace, his birth details and everything you should write. Okay. And second paragraph, you have to describe what the question is about. What the question requires the details and all from you. That is what you have to write. It must be in one tense, either in the present tense or in the past tense. You should not mingle both present and past tenses at the same time. Right? And what is annotation? Annotation is nothing but people write annotation in Telugu Sandarbha Sahita Vakyalu. Sandarbha Sahita Vakyalu. In the same way, in English also we have. What is that? Annotations. Here we have to write 4 subheadings for that. In question, no subheadings must be written, but in annotations, 4 subheadings should be written. What are they? If it is a prose lesson, we have to write about the lesson and the writer. About the lesson and the writer. While you are writing introductory part or introduction of an annotation, you have to write either introduction or about the writer and the lesson. About the lesson and the writer. In this pattern, no one should mistake writer name and lesson name. You know one thing? If you commit mistake in writer name and lesson name, you will lose 2 marks. But if you write properly, you will get 1 mark only. That is the main strategy of an annotation. You should have clear details about the writer and the lesson, first and primarily. Second subheading is about context. Is about context. ఏ సందర్భంలో ఈ యొక్క లైన్ రాయబడింది అనే ఆ సందర్భాన్ని లేదా ఆ కాంటెక్స్ట్ని రాయాలి. We have to write it. Right? So, in which context? The line is about the teacher's performance or the student's ability or how student react. As he is an innocent boy, how a teacher should take him up to the mark. So that is all how or what is the context this line is about. That is about that. This will give you half mark. Right? Next, meaning or explanation. Meaning or explanation. Explanation. Spelling should be very careful. What is that? EXPLANATION. Explanation. NAITION people write. That is absolutely wrong. EXPLANATION. Explanation. Or meaning. So that is the subheading, which is the third one. It is very, very essential because we are explaining in detail about the context or about the line and all. That is why in depth or in detail, with full details we have to write this meaning or explanation. And finally, either critical comment or general relevance. Critical comment or general relevance. Nothing but what the whole lesson is about or what the whole poem is about. Annotation is very, very essential because you will get full marks in annotations by comparing with question and answers. Right? So very good enough. So like this, from prose part we get 16 marks. And poetry, we have two more lessons. What are they? Commonwealth of Bees and This is my prayer to thee, my Lord. Commonwealth of Bees and This is my prayer to thee, my Lord. Thee, nothing but God. You might have known it. So to you, my Lord. Thee means you. To you, my God, or to my Lord. So from this also we get almost 16 marks. 16 plus 16, we get 32 marks here itself only. Okay, na? 16 plus 16, 32 marks that we get here. Right? So here also 2 questions and 2 annotation is common. In the same manner, how they are given in the prose lessons. Okay, now it's about non-detail. One and only essay is given, that is the engine trouble. It is very comic one, very funny one. You might have heard it. It's a very interesting story which is written by R.K. Narayan. You know R.K. Narayan, who is the famous writer in Indian English literature, who writes the best novels, the best stories, the best poetry and all, who created a Malgudi, which is an imaginary town. And he wrote many of the stories from that particular town and all, and which he imagined or created some imaginary character from Malgudi town and all. Okay, so let us have how a man get troubled here. Here we get one essay question that is for 8 marks. That is for 8 marks that we have, right? So totally 40 marks for theory part that you are going to have. So, but you said 50 marks, no sir, you may ask me. Yes, definitely. Because from this poetry and prose, we are going to have 2 more passages. 2 more passages. They are nothing but 2 into 5, 10 marks will be there. 10 marks will be there from that. So totally theory part is for 50 marks that you have. Right? And now we are going to have section C. Section A, theory part. Section B, passages. And section C is about grammar. So in this, we are going to have articles. First topic is about articles. Articles, we know a, an, or the. Or sometimes omission of articles where we should not use articles. ఏ గాని, యాన్ గాని, దా గాని ఎక్కడ వాడాలి, ఎలా వాడాలి, వాటి యొక్క రూల్స్ ఏంటి అవి మనం తెలుసుకోవాలి. కొన్ని కేసెస్లో ఒమిషన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆర్టికల్స్ అంటే ఆర్టికల్ వాడకూడదు, ఆ కేసెస్ని కూడా మనకి ఇవ్వచ్చు ఇక్కడ. ఓకేనా, దాన్ని మనం ఫుల్గా స్టడీ చేయాలి. తర్వాత ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ అండి. ఓకేనా, ఆర్టికల్స్ యూజువల్గా పబ్లిక్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్లో 3 మార్క్స్కి ఇస్తాడు. ఇక్కడున్న లిమిటెడ్ టాపిక్స్ని బట్టి మేబీ దీన్ని 5 మార్క్స్కి ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఇట్ మే బి గివెన్ ఫర్ 5 మార్క్స్. ఓకేనా, నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్. ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ ఈజ్ వెరీ వెరీ డిఫికల్ట్ టాపిక్ ఇన్ ఇంటర్మీడియట్ బికాస్ ఇట్ మైటంట్ బి ఆస్క్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద టెక్స్ట్ బుక్. టెక్స్ట్ బుక్లో ఉన్నటువంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ని మాత్రమే అడగనటువంటి టాపిక్ ఏదైనా ఉంది అంటే దట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్. ఈ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ అనే టాపిక్ని ఎలా అయినా అడగవచ్చు, ఎక్కడి నుంచి అయినా అడగవచ్చు. కాబట్టి దీని విషయంలో మీరు చాలా కేర్ఫుల్గా ఉండాలి. ఇది స్టడీ చేసేటప్పుడు ఫిక్స్డ్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ అండ్ చేంజబుల్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ అనే 2 టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఫిక్స్డ్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్ అనేవి కొన్ని అడ్జెక్టివ్స్ లేదా కొన్ని నౌన్స్ లేదా కొన్ని వర్బ్స్ దే విల్ బి ఫాలోడ్ బై ద సేమ్ ప్రిపోజిషన్స్. ఒకటే ప్రిపోజిషన్ కలిగి ఉంటాయి కొన్ని సెట్ అయిన వర్డ్స్ అనమాట. ఓకేనా, అది మనం పక్కాగా చదవాలి. వాటి నుంచి 3-4 బిట్స్ పడతాయి గ్యారంటీగా. నెక్స్ట్ చేంజబుల్ ప్రిపోజిషన్ లైక్ ప్రిపోజిషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్లేస్, ప్రిపోజిషన్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్, ప్రిపోజిషన్ ఆఫ్ డైరెక్షన్, or some cases where we have to use from, where we have to use to, where we have to use since, where we have to use for, where we have to use beside, where we have to use besides. All these things are very very essential. So you should concentrate on preposition not because of pre-final examination but for even for the final examination, right? So next thing which is very difficult thing in English, that is tenses. So tenses we have to study here. Tenses definitely for 5 marks. But what is easy thing they gave you here? They will ask you only simple present and simple past. in half-yearly examination, they will ask you simple present and simple past tense only. So these are very easy. If you learn the keywords and the structure properly, you can happily do it. You can happily do it. Next, voice is there. Active voice and passive voice. Active voice and passive voice. In previous examination, in final examination which is given last year, it is almost in the passive to active voice is given. A question is given from passive voice to active voice. So you should be very careful. Until now or till now we studied only active to passive. But hereafter you have to study and you have to learn passive to active also. Okay, so I hope you have already got that information. Please be very careful. Grammar is not that much easy. Not at all easy. It is visible. It is seemed that you have got everything. But if you have not prepared everything, you can't do it. You can't do the best. Right? So voice. What is active voice? What is passive voice? How to change active into passive and passive into active? What are the rules and regulations are there? I am going to reveal. I am going to tell almost 1 week to 10 days classes for this pre-final examination only. So I am continuing today onwards all these classes. If you are one to get the best marks, you please be ready. I am ready to help you. Right? So now question tags. Question tags. A tag is nothing but a short question. How short question will be followed by a statement? What are the questions to be taken by certain rules and regulations? That is what we are going to learn. And only 2 cases are there. Rewrite the sentences. So voice and question tags will be given for 5 marks. Both will be given for 5 marks. Remember that. And next, phrasal verbs. Some phrasal verbs like look after, look into, okay, look at, so resemble, all these things will come for phrasal verbs. Some phrasal verbs will be given, broke out, broke into. So all these kind of prepositions will be given phrasal verbs, and they will ask you to write own sentences for that. You have to use them in your sentences or in your own sentences. For example, look after. What is meant by look after? To take care of. So I looked after my mother. I looked after my parents. I looked after my children. Like that. You have to write a sentence by using this phrasal verb. Right? So are you following me? Yes. Next, correction of sentences. Here you should remember one thing. Correction of sentences, many of the questions will be given. But one thing you should keep in your mind. What are the topics are given for you? Based on that topics only, correction of sentences will be given. Here articles are given, prepositions are there, and tenses are there, voice is there, question tags are there. So 5 topics are there now. Based on that 5 topics only, this correction of sentences also will come. What we have to use, what we should not use. So in which case we should not use proper thing, in that case they will give another thing. We have to correct that underlined part and we have to write it. You know, correction of sentences is for 5 marks again. That means tense 1 more mark will be added, voice 1 more mark will be added, question tag 1 more mark will be added, and parts of speech, articles, prepositions also will be added 1 more mark. Okay, na? And we have to say about parts of speech also. They will give you some of the words, sentences, and they will underline some words, and they will ask you to identify the parts of speech of the word. So it is an easy thing. You don't want to worry. But it is somewhat difficult because every word do not have the same parts of speech at all the times. According to its place, according to its position, it changes its parts of speech. So you should have thorough with the position, the place and its definitions and all. Then only you can do it. If you blindly remember that, oh, this is what is called noun only, preposition only, pronoun only. If you remember that, you can't do definitely. I'm sure you can't do it. But if you know in detail explanation about that, you can do it. Right? So next, after correction of sentences, dialogue writing. Dialogue writing. Dialogue writing will be given some of the blanks in the conversation. So based on the above information and earlier information or followed information, you have to fill that blanks. Hello everyone, like that someone said, you will repeat the same. Hello, good morning, like. If say good morning, yes sir, good morning. If say how are you, yes I am fine. If they say how do you do, yes how do you do. Like that you have to reply. Based on the above information, you have to give the next information. That is about dialogue writing here. And here another last but not least question, that is text to diagram. Text to diagram. One text will be given. Based on that text or text of information, you have to prepare a pie diagram. Actually there are many kinds of diagrams are there, but for this pre-final examination, one and only type of diagram is given, that is pie diagram. Just like you have to make a round diagram and you have to put forth all the details